What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. I'm your host, Pat Finley. Tonight, I am flying solo, but I do have three very special, beautiful guests here tonight. We have the crew from Blue Collar Talent Scouts. Now, if you haven't seen these guys around, they do talent scouting a little different, and I'll get into how I met these guys here in a little bit. But I want to welcome Wood, Michael, and Dan to the show, and let's get into it, guys. What's going on?
What's going on, Pat? Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
I'm thrilled, man. It's been a long time coming. I know we talked about this probably about a year ago when
we did.
We first had a video chat when I wanted to beat up on Michael for some reason.
That was right when he first started working for us.
Yeah, that was like my first couple of weeks full time. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how it went, but it was something like, "Hey guys, you got a sec?"
Yeah, it's like, what do I say to this guy?
Yeah.
Did I handle this okay? Or am I gonna get fired?
He showed up in the food repairs rooms and groups in Facebook and started posting this stuff, and like he was posting like looking for people for certain areas, and as soon as he said the name of the city, I knew who he was working for, and I was like, okay. So I started beating him up. I was like, "Who are you working for? What's the pay?" And I just started, doing little questions. And I picked on him. I was beating up on him. I was pretty rude to him, pretty much an asshole. Like he came back and he was polite. He was nice about it. He handled it a lot better than me because if someone was talking to me like that, I'd have been like, "Who the F are you? Why are you bothering me? Go somewhere else. Block." That'd have been the first thing I did. But he actually handled it really well, and he explained himself. And here we are a year later. They're on the show. But it was fun. It was I think twice about how I interact with people now because
Thank you.
Look at you, Mike. You're a trendsetter, buddy.
So,
that's awesome.
But we had a meeting, and we talked about what sets Blue Collar Talent Scouts apart. So you guys want to get into your background. You don't look like normal talent scout guys. I mean, look at Wood's beard, man.
That's right.
You don't see guys. Right. You don't see talent recruiters like this. Generally, it's a young person fresh out of college, wearing a nice shirt and jacket or whatever, and they don't know the industry. So let's get into your guys' background. And
I used to own a haunted house, and we didn't see beards like that in the haunted house either. So
yeah, you're lucky now, man.
I'm just kidding, buddy.
I know you are.
So let's start with Michael. You're the newest one to the group here, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your background, man? What do you know about the trade?
Come on, Mike. It's like we rehearsed, buddy. It's like we rehearsed.
I did not do HVAC or any of those. I was actually a heavy equipment operator for a couple of years. I was in the Army for a short period of time before being medically discharged. But while I was there, I was fortunate enough to receive formal training from the Army on how to operate heavy equipment, excavators, dozers, motor graders, all of that, anything you would see on a development site. So I did that for a few years when I got out. And that's kind of the only skill trade besides some landscaping that I've done. But
Well, you're not a college guy come straight out and trying to use a car on a job, because that's what I think of. I think of talent recruiter people as most of them like pretty much the used car salesman of that side. They make promises, they make false promises to lure people in, and then once that person's in, it's
it's hands off.
Yeah, give me my check and see you guys later.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that there's a lot of that, and most folks in the trade. And I come from the field. I was a service tech. Sorry, am I breaking the format? Did you want to go to Wood first?
No, you're good. I'm good. Go whatever.
Well, so I was a Navy guy. Joined the Navy in the early '90s, and was a machinist mate in the Navy. And I was a machinist mate, worked on the main propulsion system, so that kind of got me into mechanics and things like that. When I got out of the Navy, I actually lived in Japan for a couple of years doing construction for a Japanese construction company. That was awesome. And then came back to the States, and then got into air conditioning. And then I was a residential service tech and service manager for a number of years. I got into recruiting for a company out of the Dallas area that ended up at the time being one of the largest online resources for air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical recruiting. I was there for about 11 and a half years. And in pretty much my entire adult life, I've either been in the field or supporting the trades, from a recruiting / consulting standpoint. And that's where I met Wood. He and Wood's story is his story to tell you, but he was working for an organization, a national organization, and he had reached out to us, and we ended up working together pretty much on a national scale for a long time, and just became friends, and and then here you go. 5 years in, we've had Blue Collar Talent Scouts going, and we're rocking and rolling every day.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so, my background was I changed careers in my mid to late 30s and moved into HR. First as a training specialist for a Fortune 500 company. So I was it was preset training for managers, how to interview, how to discipline, how to build morale, those types of things. And then got promoted into HR management. First few years I did that with landscaping, went high tech, and then ended up in Texas, which it took me a while to get here, but I love it and it's home. And that's when I started working in the skilled trades, home services, plumbing, AC, electrical. And I remember moving to Texas from Northern California, and I had friends who were in HR telling me, it's a mistake. You're going to go work with plumbers. You'll never come back here. This is where it's all at. You can be part of the cutting edge and all that. And I remember within a year or two thinking, first of all, those guys, they don't give good advice, because I loved what I did. And you know what? You deal with a plumber, you deal with an AC tech, you get what you get. It's straight up. It's not going to be. And so I worked with that company for 16, 18 years. I loved doing, my big thing was morale, how things were going, working on retention. And so I had no problem. I loved getting in a truck, riding along with a guy and being a step and fetch it guy, carry the bucket, carry the canister with Freon or with whatever coolant was in style at that point. And then 2019, Dan and I had talked. Dan and I, the first time we went out and had drinks, we had drinks, just a couple of drinks. It was right after work. And he said, someday we ought to start a business together. Well, that was probably 2000.
I'm pretty sure I was a lot more animated than that. I'm sure there was a lot more words.
You were, but I got to be me.
Probably paragraphs instead of sentences.
Yeah, there's something to it. But 2019, we started talking about it seriously, and mid-year kicked it off right before COVID.
What a great time to start a business. There's a lot of people I know that started businesses in that time, and some didn't last, and some have flourished. So, So I do have a quick question. Brian in the chat wants to know about Dan's Lowe's gig. Is this going to be safe for the air? Or?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Okay, so I think it is. So I have hobbies like everybody else does. I have a lot of energy. I get real excited. Even though I'm pushing 50, I still have the, kind of the enthusiasm of a 15-year-old. And I just like doing things. And I used to own a professional haunted house for a long time. It was actually a nationally rated haunted house, endorsed by all these famous people. It was really cool. And I also do amateur comedy. So I do stand-up gigs, from time to time in different places, and for the most part, my goal is to be funny and not shocking for shock's sake. Well, I thought it'd be funny to do a bit about working at Lowe's, and this is actually a bit that now there's a couple of swear words. You okay if I use a couple of swear words, Pat?
You're fine.
So here's exactly how the bit went, and this is completely true. My wife was mortified when she found out. I told her, I said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna get a part-time job." She goes, "Why?" And I said, "Listen, I'm just trying to get some extra money." This is years ago. So I went to a Lowe's out of our area, right? And I'd walked in and I had interviewed with a gentleman, and I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do, but I know I wanted to do something. And it was this guy. He was a younger guy. You could tell he was in college. Nice enough guy, but kind of an arrogant person. So I'm like, okay, so I definitely want to work for him for sure. He said, "All right, here's what we're going to do. We're trying something new," because whenever I interviewed, I told him that I was a former tradesperson. And he goes, well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it so that we have greeters when customers walk in that have trades experience so they can show them the areas they need to go to. And I said, okay, cool, not a problem. Well, his arrogance was it was definitely apparent. You could definitely tell, you know, that he was really, really, really proud of what he did, and not necessarily the job, but proud of his background in college and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of felt like he was looking down on me a little bit. So I was like, all right, well, let's have some fun with this guy. And I purposely kind of downplayed my personality a little bit. He goes, here's what we're going to do. When customers walk in, you're going to say, welcome to Lowe's, and you have to pause for 3 seconds. It's critically important. Welcome to Lowe's, and he would count, pause, pause, pause. Can I help you find the plumbing section? Welcome to Lowe's, pause, pause, pause. Can I help you find the landscaping department? Whatever it might be. And I acted like I was super, super shy. And I said, oh, gosh, I don't know if I could do this. You know, I could talk to people I know. He goes, well, why don't you shadow me for a couple of days? I said, okay, that's fine. I'll do that. So the first day, I was standing right next to him. He was wearing his red vest. I was wearing my blue vest, or vice versa. I can't remember. Whichever vest was red, it was almost as red as Wood's beard, right? It was almost Bama red, baby. Almost Bama red. So I'm sitting there, standing next to him, just looking at him like I'm in elementary school. Like, well, okay, welcome to Lowe's. Pause, pause, pause. So when it was my time to go up, it was the 4th day. I clocked in. I walked over to him. I acted really nervous. I said, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. He goes, all right, look, just remember, talk to people like you would want them to talk to you when you come into the store. And I said, okay, I think I can do it. I think I can do it. He goes, and don't worry, I'll be right over here. So if you need me, I'm just right here. I said, okay. And he goes, and don't forget, welcome to Lowe's. I said, okay. So as luck would have it, the very first group of people that came through, it was a gentleman about my age, probably mid-40s, with what I think was his wife and teenage son. They were walking in. Then I started to act really nervous, and I started to act like I was not really hyperventilating, but, you know, kind of nervous. And I looked over at him, and he goes, so I said, okay. And as soon as he got close, I said, welcome to Lowe's, motherfuckers. Do you want to see some toilets and shit? And he freaked out, dude. He completely freaked out. The customer was laughing. His son was laughing. His wife didn't know what was going on. He pulls me off the floor, and within 30 minutes, I'm talking to the HR rep that's there on site. And as she's giving me my exit interview, 30 minutes after that happened, she asked me, well, why do you think we're letting you go today? And my response was, oh, because I didn't pause after saying welcome to Lowe's. So and that really happened. It was a ton of fun. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was mad. It happened. It was quick. It's gone. But it's a bit that I do whenever I'm out and about, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
That's hilarious.
I mean, listen, all I did was what he said, right? He said, talk to them how you would want to be talked to. And how cool would it be, Pat, if you rolled into a place and somebody just told you exactly what you would want to hear? So I was customer service at its best, man. That's what I was trying to do.
You know, that's what I love about the kitchens, because like I go into the kitchen, like, and you'd be surprised at how these lunch ladies actually talk if people knew. But the kitchens, like, I go in, I'm quiet and polite. I try to read the room, and most times they're just like me. They're in there cutting up, telling jokes, talking shit to each other.
Yeah,
Lunch ladies have the dirtiest mouths in the world. It's a fun environment. So yeah. I just try to treat people how I want to be treated, and hopefully it works out. So that's funny. That's good.
Rock and roll, man. Absolutely.
So you guys, what all industries do you cover? I see Michael all the time in the food service world, because that's kind of where I hang out. You know, that's
Michael's a beast. We primarily cover anything related to HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, which obviously includes refrigeration, rack systems, commercial cooking equipment, steam tables, high-powered laundry machines, or not. I guess maybe laundry machines.
Machines.
Yeah, dishwashers, things like that. We have dipped our toe into a few other verticals. We have worked with motor winding organizations before, believe it or not. And if you take a step back and think about it, some of these mega motors are $40,000, $50,000 motors, and you don't just buy a new one. You actually have a professional come rewire it or rewind the motor windings. And so we've dipped our toe in there. There's a few other verticals. We have our eye. Any organization has a whiteboard. of industries you want to get into, but we focus on the ones that we know we're the best at: HVAC, plumbing, electrical, which would include commercial cooking equipment as well.
Sweet. That's really cool. Yeah, it's like I said, man, the greatest part about you guys is you guys are just, blue collar guys, cutting up, having fun. You're not the normal recruiter. And once I got past the fact of, that I was an asshole and you guys like that, it was pretty fun to talk to.
We're kind of used to it. Most people are until they realize. I mean, it's like we learned real quick, Dan and I, that first year, if someone asked us if we were a recruiter, if we said yes, that was it. They were hanging up on us, No,
I knew that from forever ago. I mean, I've been in the recruiting. Well, both women have been in the recruiting world forever.
I'd be answering the phone and I'd be talking to a plumber and I'd be asking, legitimate questions. Hey, have you gone through your dollhouse test here in Texas? That's part of the journeyman's test. I'd ask them questions about how they would reline a home or how they would check a main line for a belly, and they'd talk along, and then they'd say, "Are you a recruiter?" And at first I said, well, "Hey, 100% honest, yeah, I am." Okay, click. That was it. So we learned real quick, or I learned real quick, to just say, "Hey, I'm a consultant, but I've been in the trades for over 15 years," and that kind of at least got me the time to explain what we did.
And I get it. I get why people hang up the phone on recruiters. It's funny. One thing that I know you're going to touch on, because I've listened to pretty much all of your shows ever since we first met you when you threw Michael off the top ropes. But and I love your show. It's awesome. It's chill. It's one of my favorite podcasts.
It's one of the fun things I do.
Well, and so I know you're going to touch on it because you typically do, but the trades are really starting to I mean, the spotlight is really starting to shine on the trades, and one thing that we talk about quite a bit, in our day-to-day travels, and if you want to get into it later, we certainly can, is that we try to help point high school and junior high kids, not necessarily derail them from going the college route, but if they're unsure of what they want to do in life, they don't have to go into college debt just to see. They can explore the trades, and still make a great living, a white collar living, in a blue collar world. And I say that to say this, in the white collar world, nursing, attorneys, doctors, any type of white collar suit and tie professional job, it is a very common practice for someone to have a recruiter on speed dial. And to them, a recruiter's not a bad thing. A recruiter's a good thing. Recruiters, if they're good at what they do, they typically know the hiring manager at organizations. 90% of the jobs you want are not posted online, or if they are, when you apply, you have to go through the rigmarole of whatever that process is for each company, which is always different. And so it's never a bad thing in the white collar world to have recruiters attached to you. So we're trying to do the same thing here in the blue collar world as well. I mean, we're not trying to do anything other than help facilitate connections from folks that are in the field doing a phenomenal job that are just not happy where they are, or if they're looking to move to another place in the country because they're legitimately moving, or they're coming back home. Maybe they're coming back home to Dallas because they want to support God's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for everybody out there who loves the Cowboys, because I get it. I'm a Cowboys fan too, right? So anyway, we try to help facilitate those connections, and recruiters have gotten a really bad name because the lion's share of the recruiters in this space have never done the job before. They've never turned a wrench. You mentioned it as well. Their personal game is off. They'll see Bob, they'll place Bob, they see Bob as a paycheck, and then they bounce. Well, that's not how we are at all. It's a big world, but it's a small niche industry, and we're definitely in this for the long haul for sure. So,
well, the trades guys, I think we've been looked down upon for so long.
Yeah,
I think the schools,
for sure.
I think the school's done a bad job to the trades for years. They push this: if you don't go to college, you're nothing. You're not gonna make anything unless you go to college, man. Dude, I make probably more money than just about 99% of the people I went to school with.
There you go. Yeah, dude, word for sure.
But and then it just seems like I'm not fair to probably recruiters, and I'm not fair to recruiters. Let's just be honest. That's Michael. But most of them don't understand what we do. They want to talk us into a job, and then
Well,
look at a guy like Michael, right?
Part of it too, though.
Sorry, go ahead.
Part of it too is they see you as an item to fill a ticket, And the one thing that we love, I mean, we're a small business, right? And Dan and I, with starting it, we kind of set the rules. Listen, I know there's recruiters out there that if you call in or you submit an application and you have no experience, but you've gone through trade school, they aren't going to call you. And if you do get them on the phone, they're going to hang up on you. We have probably a 5-minute conversation with a guy at that point, with a lady that's just starting out. Hey, the jobs that people pay us to fill, they're not going to be ones that you can fill. You got to have some experience. But here, let me give you 3 or 4 things you can do to get there. And if there is a connection, and we do get that, Michael's got a client down in Austin that will hire people that are straight out. He just wants them to have their EPA. You know what? We've placed 3 or 4 there because Michael's taken the time. I've taken the time and then passed them on to Michael. And they're actually in the trade a little bit more because of that. Because that first job, especially if you go to a trade school, and some trade schools are great and some are junk. We could talk about that if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's where even the good ones, there's such a thing that that first job is tough to get.
Well, and they make promises they can't keep. I think it's the same thing a lot of recruiters do. They make promises they don't have to keep. You know, they tell these guys like, you're going to come out, you're going to make $35 an hour. Well, you just went through a 1-year trade school program. You're not going to make $35 an hour.
No, and not to poo-poo trade schools, but for in pretty much any trade, you know, when you go through a trade school, you're going to learn in a climate-controlled condition, you know, where things are nice and clean. You're not going to be underneath the house at midnight when it's 100 and holy crap degrees outside with what sounds like a rattlesnake 45 feet away from your face, right? They don't train you that way. You know, you're not up in an attic where it's hot. You're not behind a dishwasher where you've got 17 years of grease from the pizza ovens and the fryers. You know what I mean? So you're definitely right about that for sure.
I try to tell guys, if you want to go to trade school, go work a week or 2 in a job in that field. And see if you're going to like that field. I mean, you may not understand in a week or 2 if you're going to like it, but you're going to have a better understanding in that week or 2 than go spend all this time and money in a trade school and then come out and be like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. This sucks.
Well, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of schools that are there's definitely some schools that are awesome, but I think it's like anything else. It's like recruiting companies that have multiple disciplines and they also happen to dip their toe in the trades. You know, I'm not saying that you can't have success with those, but you got those types, or you have, you know, like hardcore, you know, that's all you do type of guys. Same thing with trade schools for sure. So
yeah.
Nice. So do you guys strictly work with companies, or can people come to you and you can help find them somewhere, or how does it work?
All the above, man. So we work with organizations. One of our longest standing clients, they're a phenomenal company out of the Carolinas. All they do is big electrical construction, industrial, commercial, mostly commercial, some industrial, and a few other types of construction, all electrical. They work in 3 states right now. They have 5 locations. Phenomenal organization. We help them find everything from entry-level helpers all the way up to, you know, to superintendents and project managers from time to time. So we work with companies of that size, organizations that have national footprints, as well as the average contractor, which in the air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical space specifically, I can't speak to the commercial kitchen space as well, but I'm guessing it's pretty close. Based on our research, roughly 80 to 85% of those companies are in the 4 to 6 employee range, you know, and they're typically family owned and it's passed down from generation to generation. So that's really the core of what we do. So yes, we obviously work with contractors, but we get calls all the time now, especially from Michael's efforts of like, hey, I'm Jim. I happen to hear about you guys, or I saw a post online, or one of my friends found a job through you. Do you happen to have anything in this area or that area? And one thing we'll do is we'll do everything that we can to help make that connection. But we're always straight up with folks, you know. What I always like to tell, let's just call them Bob or Cindy. If we're talking to a Bob or a Cindy, it doesn't matter what they do, commercial, cooking, equipment, tech. What I'll tell Bob or Cindy is I'll say, hey, listen, I'm going to do everything I can to help make that connection, right? And I promise you, I'm only going to try to connect you with companies that I would want to work for, having experience in the field. We vet companies to a certain degree, and if we don't have a good, warm, fuzzy feeling that they're going to be the stand-up company that we would want to work for as a service tech, then we typically just graciously bow out. So we promise that to them, number one, and then number two is once once we help make that connection, we don't force them to do anything other than, take that first phone call. Say, hey, listen, if you like these guys, great. If you don't, and you find something else on your own, no harm, no foul. You've got to do what's best for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to do it. I mean, you're not just forcing it. You're trying to, you guys aren't just trying to work with anybody. I mean, you do your homework on both ends. It sounds like it's a good, good fit.
We've been fooled a couple of times, but once we figure it out with a company, we won't continue to work with a company like that. If there's someone who's taking advantage or they aren't doing what they delivered or promised, then you know what? There's other companies out there that will. And
again, you take it from the, treat people as you want to be treated. I mean, heck, I wish I had a recruiter when I was rolling in the service truck. Oh, you know what I mean? I had to do it the old-fashioned way, newspapers.
Dude, that's what I did, man. I've been in this industry 18 plus years. I started off in high school. I took a vocational class. Man, I can't talk tonight. I took a vocational class when I was an electrician at school. And every year we built a Habitat for Humanity house. And then
that's awesome.
We did electrical work at a school. So me being a 16 through 18-year-old kid, changing ballasts in a classroom with live 277 was probably not the smartest thing to do. But I learned a lot. And I came out and I went union for a while, non-union for years, and I got into what I was doing now. And I just love what I'm doing now. It's something different every day, so it fits me well. But I've always had the background, and I knew I couldn't do a factory. I knew I couldn't do that, but I had to do it the hard way. When I first started, the internet was there, but it wasn't like today. So I was,
was it 56K dial-up?
Oh yeah, I still remember AOL.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, the internet didn't exist unless you put that disc in.
Yeah, kids today.
I still have a Netscape email address. I wonder if I haven't checked it in 20 years.
I've got
50,000 emails in that jank.
I've got a Hotmail, and I have to check every once in a while because it's like something's tied to that. And I have to go find it and create it and then scroll through all the stuff. So
my backup email for everything is a Yahoo email, and I went to AT&T. That's what I have our cell phones on, my wife and I and daughters and stuff. And I was just there not too long ago, and they said, hey, your backup it's at sbcglobal.net. They require, and they're like, you may want to change that. I'm like, why? That's literally everything goes. They're like, because it's not supported anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, if something happens and you get locked out, there is nobody to call. And if that's the email that everything backs up to, so I'm going to be in trouble because I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, I feel you when it comes to old school internet, Pat.
So I mean, having something like what you guys offer would be a really cool thing. Back in the day when I was looking for a job, I mean, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, but I think it'd be a huge help to some guys out there for sure.
Well, even if we don't have a good connect, we can help in the sense of, hey, look, there's still things that we can coach on. We can practice a conversation. We can practice an interview with you. We're about trying to help in that context. And usually between Dan and myself specifically, I mean, over 40 years probably in the trades, we probably have a connection in most cities. It's just a matter of, can we reach them? Is it a good connection for you? Because I have some network connections that I'm not sure I'd want to recommend anyone go work for,
We've all done that road.
Yeah.
Well, Michael's been doing this really awesome thing that I'm probably I'm so happy he's doing it. Is it Timmy the Tech?
Oh God. Yeah.
So have you seen Timmy the Tech, Pat?
If I see Timmy the Tech, I'd laugh.
Yeah, you're not a Jets fan, are you?
No, I am not. So you can.
So Timmy the Tech's probably a New York Jets fan. I'm not, and I'm only saying that because of. Oh no, is that a bad thing, Michael?
That is a bad thing. You know better, Dan.
I'm joking. That was a joke. No, I was saying that for a friend of mine who have a bet about with the Cowboys and the Jets. Yeah. So again, that was a joke. That was a total joke. Don't kill me. But actually, go into it, Michael. What does Timmy the Tech do?
So that's just a little series I started on TikTok, trying to find stuff to post and something that would be fun and kind of engaging. And Timmy is, let's just say Timmy is not very smart, and he does a lot of things that, candidates probably shouldn't do. And then I'm there to, correct it and tell people how they should do it,
Well, I'll give you
my favorite was the Little Debbie's. Looking for
Little
Debbie's.
Debbie's. Oh, yeah. During the storm, the Little Debbie storm that we had.
Well, you should check out this series. It's awesome. Mike, you don't give yourself enough credit, man, Michael. These are phenomenal. They're super funny.
You should bring guests on there. Is what you should do.
Heck yeah, dude. 100%, man.
Bring on some guests.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Timmy coming on, making an appearance.
Well,
yeah, we could do that.
One thing people don't think about is a lot of times everybody has an email address, and a lot of times, when you're applying for a job, you may not realize that your email address is going to be seen by the potential hiring employer. And I got to tell you, holy cow. So I've had some. Yeah, there's Timmy the Tech right there. So I've had some calls throughout my years, and keep in mind, I started recruiting in the early 2000s, where I would call a candidate. I would say, "Hey, listen, man, I see your information. I'm kind of interested in helping you make a connection, but you're gonna have to change your email, man, because they're going to email you, and they're going to want you to email them back. And I didn't think about that. So just trying to help. Go Eagles, yeah, rock on, rock on." So they did. So listen, I'm all about creating flame wars, apparently. So what we try to do, is we try to just really, and to Wood's point, we try to help guys and gals in the field. We're very lucky to have such a fast growing section of females in the trade, which is sorely needed for sure. We just try to help them with best practices. If a contractor calls you to set up an interview, call them back. If you get a call from a number that you don't recognize and you just applied for a bunch of jobs, that's my favorite one. Say hello. Don't say, "What do you want?" You know what I mean? Again, Timmy the Tech, goes over all that. So just best practices. Yeah.
Might want to think about your voicemail too. Hey, what's up?
I'll call you back if I feel like it.
I can't answer the phone. I'm too busy drinking beer.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's funny. So you guys coach them too, so that's really cool.
Well, you have to, because think about what we do. I mean, what we do, Pat, is it's critical. It's critical stuff, especially commercial cooking equipment, right? Because you guys, most people may think, and this is what one of my favorite parts about your space specifically, most people think about what you do if they're just in the civilian world. They think about that as being, it's like a local pizza joint or an Italian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant. No, not necessarily. It's school systems, it's hospitals, it's nursing care facilities, right? You guys take care of everything. You guys are the ultimate backstage pass folks, right? So when it comes to the trades, especially the commercial cooking equipment side, there's such a shortage of qualified people in the industry. We have to do, as a society, we have to do more to shine a spotlight on the trades, period. But we feel like we have to do as much as we possibly can as an organization to really help boost these guys up. When I say guys, it's a universal guys and gals, help boost them up, help build their confidence, and help them understand, listen, this is a phenomenal trade to get into. And you're going to have to change your email, though. Otherwise, we won't send you over.
Yeah, that's our main goal with this. I started this off as kind of like, we're going to talk about stuff, and it's kind of like morphed and transitioned into like growing this industry, sharing, what we do and bringing our industry to the forefront, because everyone knows what an HVAC guy does, electrician does, a plumber does, but no one understands what I do. And unfortunately, some of the stuff is pretty dirty, and I can't show it because I'll get in trouble. But it's a fun,
I get it.
I do have a quick comment from Mechanical Environments. So my friends over in Denver, Colorado, they specialize in HVAC systems for grow houses and stuff. That's their little niche.
Oh, cool.
It's a pretty cool little environment. They got some pretty cool stuff they work on. So they want to know, do you guys headhunt top techs or just help place people who apply?
Excellent question. All the above.
We headhunt for sure.
Yep.
All the above. So here's a quick tip. Everybody who's listening that may or may not be a company, the last thing you want to do is put your top technician's first and last name on your website. because if we're looking for somebody in your area, guess who we're calling? Bob Smith. We're calling Bob Smith.
We'll
Like a
find
shark, I'm coming for him.
Yeah.
So I will share on that. So I don't know if it still is, but there was a point in time where people would put my company's name in, and I was the first thing that pop up on all the searches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we have like 400 and some texts.
That's awesome. That says a lot about your footprint in the field, man.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I don't know if it's still the case, but it was that way for a little bit. I was just cracking up.
But
We've
also
done some
have
work with Colorado companies quite a bit. I have a lot of experience in Colorado.
I used to support a shop for my last company in Denver area, and so I spent a good bit of time there. It's a nice town. What I was going to say is we don't just coach on the potential applicants or candidates. We also have to coach employers, because I remember the first time back in 2003, 2004, I'd hear one of these managers talk about, well, we used to just put an ad in the Chronicle, that's the Houston paper, and we'd have plumbers lined up down the sidewalk there, and they'd have their tools with them ready to get in a truck and run calls. And I'd look at them like, when's the last time that happened?
Yeah.
Because they're not used to it. And so some of the habits that came with that, hey, look, we only want to look at guys whose resumes are complete, make sure there's no misspellings, all of this kind of stuff. You can't do that anymore. And it is sort of frustrating. I know Michael's hit a couple of times recently. Great candidate, just not the best. The best candidates have the worst resumes, unless their wife or someone writes it professionally for them.
It's true.
So we'll talk to our clients. Hey, look, if we send you someone, we've screened them. We'll give you our feedback, but if you're only going to look at the resume, you're probably going to miss out on a good candidate, because a lot of times the resumes aren't that great. And they'll say, it's sort of like in your initial orientation, everyone goes, yeah. And then a week later, it's like, well, we saw that he's only got 2 years experience. No, he doesn't. We told you in our cover that this guy's got 7 years of experience, and he's been doing this, and this, which is what you say you need. And oh, by the way, he's open to working for the kind of money you want to pay. Well, it's too late. I mean, they've already made their decision.
Well, think about this, Pat. In the commercial cooking equipment space specifically, right? If let's say that I'm a tech rolling on a service vehicle, if I'm good at what I do, am I desperate for a job?
No. No.
Not at all. Right. Same thing with all blue collar verticals, right? So that's why it's really critically important for us to be here as a recruiting source for them, because if they're not happy where they are, right, they may not have 2 or 3 hours a day to go through every job posting online. They may not have 2 or 3 hours a day to network with everybody they know. Hey, are you guys hiring? What's the pay? What's this? What's that? That's another reason why, we're here, to help support the field, because if they call us and we happen to have some connections, we'll definitely hook them up. But on the flip side, from a contractor standpoint, when you place ads out there, there's only so many people that you're going to see, right? Because again, I know even though I've been out of the air conditioning world for a long time, I could probably get a job as a service tech tomorrow. You know what I mean? Just because, the average age of a tradesperson anywhere USA is somewhere right there between the late 40s to early to mid 50s. That's just where the age range is, right? So what does that mean? That means in 10 years, a lot of those folks are going to be transitioning into the retirement side. You know what I mean? And what were the stats that you had found for electricians specifically not too long ago? Is it for every 12,000 that leave, there's only 7,000 that come back in, or something like that?
It's something on that order. It's a little over half step into the industry for the number that are leaving.
Yeah. So every morning that we wake up as an industry, all across the blue collar verticals, we wake up with a deficit, because more and more companies are coming online every day. More and more restaurants are being built. More hospitals are being built. More daycare facilities are being built. More laundries are being built. And if you don't have enough demand, if you don't have enough supply to keep up with that, then it's going to be really challenging to kind of fill those roles. So we also help educate the contractors as well on what to realistically expect versus not. It's not the same climate now as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
on both sides.
And again, to go back, sort of, we talked a little earlier about the whole thing about high school and going into trades instead of going to college. You know, I do a lot of research on this because we'll get in front of junior high and high school students here in Texas pretty regular. The average debt for someone coming out of college in Texas is $28,000. That doesn't sound like a whole lot compared to what it could be, but it's still a lot of money when you consider most people take 10 years to pay that off if they pay the full payment every month, you know? And along with that, it's where those individuals come out of college and they can't make the kind of money that most of the guys who are a good plumber or a good AC tech can make here now. So it's like, you got to think in terms of alternatives. You got to have that as part of the deal. Plus, you know what? I know people, hey, when I worked high tech manufacturing in Silicon Valley, I started at the back end of the boom, the .com boom. 9/11 hits, it had already started to pop. That just exploded it. And so all of a sudden, there was all these jobs either disappearing or going offshore. You know what? You can't offshore a job. You can't send a job for a plumber, an AC tech, a kitchen equipment service technician to India or to China or to anywhere else. It's got to be here. And so there's some security there that, hey, even if you don't work out at one company because you don't like them or they don't like you, you know, maybe it's the politics, maybe it's the football team, who knows? But at the same time, there's going to be a half dozen companies that'll talk to you, and you're going to find some place where you're a good fit. And oh, by the way, if you do well for 10, 15 years, guess what? You probably got the opportunity to run your own company if you want to. So,
yeah, it's a wild market, especially in my industry. You know, at one time they were saying like 8-1. I don't think it's 8-1, but it's ridiculous. It's just, you know, for the guys leaving, the guys coming in. And everywhere you go, there's a new restaurant popping up. There's a new school. There's a new hospital. There's a new nursing home. They're building everything so fast, and everything has competition in it. And you can, if you are good, okay, you can be average, do the bare minimum, and make really good money.
Yeah.
Now, you can, and if you want to be like me and study and do everything you can and be the best you can make really, really good money. I'm not just telling that to people, you know, to push this, but my job's not hard. I have fun, and I just like learning stuff, and it's paid off. And, you know, I've got 2 boys. My oldest son, he's going to turn 22 next month.
Oh, congratulations, man.
He's been
you
here.
don't look that old.
I'm 42. I started.
No, yeah, you look a lot older than 42.
I've got a 23-year-old daughter. I've got she just became a licensed massage therapist.
Hey, rock on, dude.
And then I've got a 21-year-old son. He'll be 22 next month, but he's worked with us for over 2 years. He owns a house, drives a brand new Bronco. He's engaged. Awesome. 22 years old, 0 college debt, has plenty of money in the bank account. Trust me, I see it still. And then,
yeah, I think we're right there.
My youngest,
I've got a 23 and a 27. Sorry, go ahead.
And then I got an 18-year-old. He graduated this year. He's been working with me a little over 3 months, and he's got a bunch of money saved up. He's going to go buy a sports car at 18 years old. He thinks he's going to park it in my barn, but he's got another thing coming. It's sitting outside. But I mean, I'm not against school. I mean, go there with a purpose and focus and study. Don't go there to party, to experience college, because you're not going to get anything out of it except for debt.
Well, here's the thing, right? Whenever we go, and actually, before I say anything, I have to address somebody. I don't know if you saw it or not, Pat, but somebody was asking about your red beard, if it's real.
Oh,
somebody had asked. You're the biggest Bama fan in the history of mankind.
Well,
right?
You know the best part about being gray, because this is more natural than this, is you can be whatever color you want to be.
That's right. But he's the biggest Bama fan in the history of mankind. So it's Bama red.
I've been a Bama fan since I was 8, and that means it's over a half a century now. So
I don't know if I can count that high.
Sure you can.
Bama fans can't.
My favorite.
I deserve that one too.
My favorite college team is North Central Texas College. It's badminton. So, because I went to the Navy, I was in the Navy when I was 17. So I think but we don't necessarily. when we go into high schools and junior highs, the first thing that we tell kids is, look, we're not saying college is bad. That's not what we're saying, right? If you already have a scholarship, if you already have something set aside for college, if you already have a roadmap, like if your family is a career veterinarians or whatever, and you have to have that degree. Like both of my daughters, they actually. Texas loves their honorably discharged veterans. So both of my daughters got their degrees to be teachers through the Hazelwood Act, which is awesome. So both of my daughters have their degrees because they had to be in order to be teachers. That's what they wanted to do. So what we don't say is listen, college is bad. The only thing that we say is, listen, if you're undecided by the time you hit 11th grade and you're not sure what you want to do, make sure. Yeah, there you go, Megan. Definitely with you. If you don't know what you want to do, it is so easy for a 17-year-old to get $50,000 in debt in the blink of an eye without even realizing that that's the only debt that you cannot hit the atomic reset button on. I know there's been a lot of chatter about it over the last couple of years about this and that, but the reality is that's one of the only debt profiles that you can't hit the atomic reset button on as far as bankruptcy. So, and most of these folks don't understand that. So we're not saying college is bad. All we're saying is this: if you don't already have a strategic plan and the finances for school, then at least consider the trades, because think about the commercial cooking side of things as well, right? It's not just being in the field. I mean, you've got the supplier side. Now there are so many software companies out there that support the trades, schedule and dispatch software. You have software that deals with parts and tracking inventory. You've got, you know what I mean? You've got all these different, you've got remote sensors. You've got 1,000,001 different vendor ancillary kind of third-party opportunities as well that are trade specific that do not require a college degree either. So, we just want to try to help shine that spotlight on the trades as a whole. So,
yeah, that's really great. Yeah, someone told me, I think someone said that, you could be in prison for the rest of your life and you still be getting letters from the government wanting their money for their student loans.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's funny.
Oh, sorry. It's been more than 7 minutes.
Oh, no.
Well, listen. All I got to say, like the top tech, I just want to use the Cowboys as an example, right? They may not. I'm just kidding. All right, I'll do that later. I've got a really awesome Cowboys bet. It's only 14 and a half minutes long.
Oh, no.
But it is a joke. They are a joke.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm a glutton for punishment. I really am. Either you love the Cowboys or I hate the Cowboys. But anytime somebody says most teams are like, oh, okay, that's whatever. So and I like stirring up the pot a little bit.
We had a guy from Dallas. We had a guy that's on here from Dallas, and he's a huge Cowboys fan, and he's so disgruntled about them that he won't even wear a Dallas Cowboys hat. He just wears a hat that says NFL on it.
Oh, because last weekend? Oh, trust me.
In general, he's just like, this is stupid. He's like, how could you guys spend this much money and be this damn bad?
Well, look, I know every year that we're going to mess up in the first part. Listen, I'm not saying I'm a bandwagon guy, but I know every year that the last time I went to the Super Bowl, I was on the USS Blue Ridge, somewhere out in the middle of the ocean off the coast of Japan, right? Best part of the Cowboys is the cheerleaders. So actually, it's funny. I made a bet with a guy. His name is, and I think, Pat, I'm not sure if you've met him or not. You probably have. His name is Everett. He's from Jersey. He's a massive Jets fan, which is why I said the Jets before. And we made a bet early on for this season, and the bet was simple. I love betting on Cowboys games and stuff like that, but not like money bets or anything. I like betting for eyebrows or let somebody take control of your Facebook page for 2 hours, that kind of thing, which I'll never do after Sunday.
I will never do that because I'd get.
Well, yeah, I know, because you don't believe in your team. So what I did was I was like, Everett, let's do this. And so we both bet, and we're not going to play each other this season, but what we're going to do is whichever team, so I'm a Cowboys guy, he's a Jets guy, whichever team makes it further in the season, the loser has to shave all their body hair from their chin down. I wanted to go eyebrows, but he refuses to do that. Whatever. As a matter of fact, I hate my eyebrows. I wish I didn't have any eyebrows. I've been wanting to get rid of them since I was 4. So you shave all your body from your chin down, and then you have to go to a tanning booth with the logo of the opposing team and get a tan with that on there until it stays. and you have to sport that bad boy around for an undetermined amount of time. So
I like it.
dude, it's awesome. It's that kind of stuff is fun. That's a trades thing, busting chops. It obviously in a nice way, not in a mean way or a negative way, but just that fun banter of saying, look, what we do is hard. The trades is not an easy thing. Being in a steam-filled kitchen with angry customers or angry patients or angry directors because they've got a schedule to keep. God forbid if you happen to be going to a facility that has and I've heard horror stories about this. If you go to a facility that has buffets, and let's say you've got half of the steam tables that are out or something like that. I mean, the techs that are out there working on that, they're in a living nightmare, right? So you have to be able to literally, pun intended, release the steam with stuff like this.
Yeah, it sounds like a terrible fantasy football bit.
Well, I tell you what, man. Again,
Does make it more interesting though.
I just, I love having fun. I love having fun. And, everybody says life is short. I believe it's the longest thing you're ever going to do. So if you don't have fun, then shame on you. And this kind of stuff's fun for me.
So we're getting close to time. I want to make sure you guys get to talk about, how people can get a hold of you, where we can find you guys at. And I know you can stalk Michael on Facebook. He loves it when people give him a hard time in groups.
He really does. The harder, the better.
It's actually pretty fun, honestly. Especially because they think that you're going to respond in like a negative manner. And then when you come back with this professionally written, perfectly okay way to tell them they're, wrong, it's pretty entertaining.
Dude,
and then you get to be on their podcast a year later.
I should go find it and bring it up. It's probably
actually, Pat, if it's okay, I think Megan had chimed in just a little while ago about saying, there you go, right there, bingo. Hey, Megan, we would love to chat with you for sure. If you're open to reaching out to any one of us, we can set up a time to talk. We it's getting time to where we're going to start being in schools again. And if we can get, like maybe a short video clip or an audio clip of you at least telling your story. Yeah. So if nothing else, we can share it with these kids. Again, the goal is not to discourage anything. It's just to help broaden their horizons a little bit.
Give them an additional option.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I love seeing the fact that you guys are getting in front of school kids too. That's really cool.
We have so much fun doing that.
You're not just out there. Yeah, you're not just out there talking to people. You're getting involved with the community and spreading the word on the grades. That's really cool.
We absolutely love it.
Every time we do it, Dan coaches everyone in the room to call me a boomer.
That's right.
I've done a couple school trade shows or like career days, and I had fun. Like the first one I did, my youngest son was a senior, and he knew he was already getting in his job, and he hung out with us all day. But like little kids would come by, and I had some tools, and I started making some noise with the tools, or I'd start, giving them a hard time or goofing or knocking off the table in front of them, get them to stop and slow down for a second. And I had a lot of fun doing it. And, some of the kids didn't care less. And then some were really interested. And they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'd show them some videos and stuff I do. And, oh, that's dirty. I'm like, well, dirty jobs pay a lot of money. And
what is it? I think this translates to every single blue collar vertical. Dirty hands equals clean money, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Dirty hands equals clean money for sure.
Yeah.
So where can we find blue collar talent scouts at?
Everywhere.
Every social media platform. Blue collar.
I'm trying to make sure that you can find us everywhere. On
Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, InstaFace, TwitterBot.
Our website is bluecollartalentscouts.com. Across the top of that, it's got the icon links to every other social media that we're on, and we're pretty much on all of them. LinkedIn. Michael has started to take over a lot of the posting, but I was doing that for a long time. He's hipper, so it's better that he's doing it.
So, well, here's the thing. So what Michael doesn't take out of Werther's, after every post.
So
that was a joke, dude. Joke.
I'm laughing.
I started following you guys on TikTok a while back, and all of a sudden, I started my For You page started popping up Michael, and I was like, that's the dude from Blue Collar Talent Scouts. I think I started following him, and I sent him a message. He goes, yeah, that's me. He followed me back.
Are you talking about my personal one?
Yeah, your personal one.
We don't have to put that out there.
But yeah, it's cool. Yep, I'll make sure I tag your guys' website and the social stuff on when I put this out. I really appreciate you guys coming on and talking about what you guys do and how you guys are shining a better light on how recruiting should be done. As far as my side, I'm a technician. I don't want to be lied to. I don't want to be led down a road that's not going to be true just so somebody can close a deal. I mean, I've said it before. A lot of these recruiters sound like used car salesmen versus, you really have an impact on somebody's life doing this job, and people don't.
Hands down.
People pick up and move for jobs.
Yep.
I mean, you really are playing with people's livelihood.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And hey, listen, anyone that that is interested in just having a conversation, everybody's numbers on that website will ultimately end up directing you straight to Michael. Michael's are. You guys remember the first Batman, the only Batman? I'm talking the Michael Keaton Batman. There is no other Batman. I thought you meant
the Adam West Batman. That was
that doesn't count. No, come on, that doesn't count. The only Batman,
like the Arrow or something.
The Michael Keaton Batman.
Count? Huh?
Well, there was that. There was one scene. Holy cow! I completely forgot what I was going to say. So there was that one scene right before the Joker. Jack Nicholson gets pushed into the vat. And the what? Never mind. Just know that there's a funny scene in Batman I was thinking about.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna end this before we get too long.
Is that clear as mud?
Clear. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Talking about
we appreciate the opportunity, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
It took a little while to get you guys on here.
Thank you so much, sir, for sure.
I appreciate it. I will tag everybody in the show release, and then I'll update this as well on YouTube before when we get done. But make sure you guys check out Blue Collar Talent Scouts. Awesome. Do not give Michael a hard time because he won't fall for the bait. He's much smarter than that. I tried several times.
He really does want to help.
Yeah, I do. But we can go back.
He really does want to help.
So check them out, Blue Collar Talent Scouts. If you're interested in a skilled trades job, or if you're a company looking to hire somebody in a skilled trades job, hit them up. So thanks, guys.
And go Lions.
Rock and roll, Pat. And as they say in Texas, go Cowboys, baby.
I should have ended it.
Baby.
Yeah, you